We have some current Steeler players doing the media rounds, so we'll go over a few sound bites. Plus, the Steelers recently made a signing. All that and more, Big Deke News. First, quarterback Kenny Pickett went on Ryan Clark's podcast, The Pivot, and everyone's flipping out and making a big deal about the information I'm about to show you. But don't forget who reported on this first.
Look at your hands like, come on, motherfucker.
I stretched them out a little bit, man. I was doing some exercises. I got them up. I think it was like 8.5 at Combine. I got them to like 8 5/8 or something at Pro Day. So like for whatever that's worth, man, I was trying everything I could. You couldn't. I was sleeping in like a splint to like stretch my hand out. Like, dude, I'll do whatever it takes, man. I'll do whatever.
So yeah, Pickett's hands did grow in last year's pre-draft process. Like that information was out there, but we needed to dig a little bit further as to why. There were rumors, speculation, that it was due to handstands use. So people needed to know. That's the real answer people wanted to find out about. How did that happen?
Just doing the stretches I said I was doing, the whole point I was doing it, So yeah, got a little bit more out of it.
There's been some speculation though amongst people out there in the public. Could it also be this product?
What is that? Handstands? No, I didn't use it.
The reporting and story on this topic has already been case closed. Kenny confirmed no handstands, used some stretching techniques, and I guess you could say Clark expanded on it a little bit further. We found out he used a splint whenever he was sleeping. Yawn. We just wanted to know if it was handstands or not. But then Kenny did further talk about some other things, like learning from the GOAT.
Were you a fan of Big Ben growing up?
I was, man. So, one of my best friends was a diehard Steelers fan. I was an Eagles guy myself, so McNabb was my guy. But I always watched Ben, man. Like when he had the run he had with AB and Le'Veon and stuff, Heath Miller, you watch those games, Martavis Bryant, like those games, man, those guys were playing at a different level. So and then I was at Pitt and I was able to see it every day, like watching that like you can sit on the side after workouts and just watch them and watch the timing, like watching when the ball comes out before guys breaks, like way before I was doing it. I'm like, shit, I got some work to do,
Right.
with my guys to get to that level. But like I saw how it was supposed to be done from Ben, at practice. So he was another guy, I was, able to see up close in person, which really helped.
Obviously, good to hear. But for Kenny in this offense to get to that killer B point, you got to put in the work. Here's Kenny talking about getting the team together.
Speak to the level of commitment by your group. Yeah,
it's big, man. It's big. You love hearing guys like anyone in the NFL could say, man, I want this, I want that. Like everyone should have like that want to, like they can talk about it and it sounds great and everyone's on board and it's a rah-rah type thing. But then when it's time to do it, like who shows up and who's there, like that's when you find out like who's really all in and who wants to do it. So to have everyone show up, man, and be down here and ready to work, it's awesome to see. And, it just kind of excites you as a quarterback, as a player, that you got guys with you that are on that same kind of level and same kind of drive that want to go out there and win a championship. So it's awesome to see. I look back at my experience at Pitt, I think that what took me to the next level, it's just you go back to football being like that ultimate team game, man. We had a lot of talent at Pitt. And it came together that last year where, that work ethic matched the talent we had. And, I think we're kind of heading that way, with the Steelers. I think there's a lot of talent on our team. And, as long as I continue to work and, push myself in the offseason to make that leap and master our system and kind of own it the way you see these other quarterbacks in the league own it. And the guys have been playing the same system for a couple of years now. They're running the show out there, and that's kind of what I want to get to. It doesn't happen overnight, and, I understand that. That's going to take some time to get there, but, I'm going to do everything in my power to get there. And I know that we have the guys on the team that want that same goal of, hoisting that trophy up in February. So, I know we'll get there sooner or later.
Kenny also discussed the Pickett to Pickens connection and how he, like the rest of us, only expect Pickens to be getting better.
Yeah, I think, like you said, he's shown how athletically gifted he is, but I think what I saw today, just kind of working his routes, like he wants to become a route runner and he wants to have all those routes in his arsenal where it's not just one or two routes where guys really have to worry about. So I think once we put that together in this spring, man, along with Deontay on the other side and Pat working the middle of the field, Najee in the backfield. Like you said, I mean, there's a lot of pieces that are young that we could really build around. So, but like I said before, man, it sounds good on paper. Talking about it sounds awesome. We got to go out there and do it. But I'm really, encouraged from what I've seen early on from everyone.
So those were the sound clips I thought you guys would enjoy and that I thought was worthwhile to bring to your attention. They weren't anything groundbreaking, nothing like dramatic or anything, but that's what you want out of your quarterback when he's doing interviews. You don't want anything controversial out there. But don't get me wrong, the interview was still good and worth your while, so I suggest you guys check it out. Like there was a clip out there where Pickett's talking about the Ravens game on the road with the game-winning drive. Also a funny one where he's talking about getting hit by Damar Hamlin when we went up to Buffalo and when James Daniel came to protect his quarterback. So there's a lot of good stuff in this. It's also good to hear just Kenny talk about his process and digging deep into his mentality. But I wanted to use that last one where he's talking about Pickens to segue into another Steeler player, actually the newest Steeler player on the roster, Allen Robinson, because he did a press conference a couple days ago, and he also kind of talks about George Pickens and taking on the mentor role for this young receiver room.
Darnell Mooney, just how much do you like that mentor role, and is that something that the Steelers talk to you about kind of doing here with a really young receiver room?
Yeah, I feel like for me, being in that role a lot, again, it's something that I feel like being around younger receivers keeps me young. Again, this actually will be the first time in my career that I'll be the oldest receiver in the room, and I believe that I am. So I'm still 29, so I'm not. I'm still learning some things still myself. But again, I'm looking forward to it. It's a great group. From watching these guys from afar. It's a lot of talent in that room.
George Pickens, his rookie year as a fellow receiver in the league, is there any familiarity there? Did you see any of the highlights?
Yeah, I definitely saw some of the highlights. Again, once you kind of get into the season, man, you're so locked into as far as what you're doing as a team yourself. But seeing some of the catches he made and things like that from afar, man, is a tremendous amount of talent. And just kind of being a second round pick myself, and just kind of knowing, that the sky is the limit for him.
Allen also addressed what he thinks his role is going to be with this Steelers team.
Or outside, what conversations have you had with the Steelers in that regard?
Yeah, being able to play inside and outside. Again, I think that they have a good vision for me. Some of the times that I've had some of the most success in my career, I've played inside about anywhere from 30 to 40%. Up to almost 50%, so outside and inside, so I'm looking forward to it.
Has blocking been a big part of your game, and to incorporate that, how big is it nowadays in the NFL?
I think it's big in the NFL. I actually feel like last season I probably had my best blocking year of my career, and that's again, like I said before, from the kind of the run scheme that the Rams would use. They use the receivers a lot in the run game. So being able to understand defenses, being able to see different looks and kind of be activated in the run game constantly. I think that really challenged me as a receiver. To kind of take on more blocking responsibilities than I had in the past. Which I accepted that challenge and I appreciate it. I think that was one of the ways that I improved my game last year as well, is being able to, get in there and make a lot of big blocks for us.
It's not like Allen's interview answers have shifted my perspective on this trade, really, because I already really liked it. But if anything, I just like it even more because whenever you take these answers and think about it, man, this is a perfect fit for us because you have Allen Robinson, who is pretty much the same prototype as a receiver as George Pickens. It's just George Pickens might be a little bit more freakier when it comes to athleticism. But what has Robinson done throughout his career when he's been healthy? He's been a wide receiver one. And even though Pickens and Robinson aren't a Deontay Johnson where they can create separation off the line in an instant, Robinson has been able to get it done. He's found the edges throughout his time playing in the league, and he could teach that type of stuff to George Pickens. There was a stat out there, like even last year, even though his down year with the Rams and stuff, he was considered the most open receiver on the team. So with Pickett's answer, whenever he was talking about Pickens and how he's trying to learn new routes, combined with an Allen Robinson who knows how to run routes, has known how to get it done in the league, has been a Pro Bowl, has been a franchise wide receiver one, he's going to be able to teach Pickens what he needs to know to get to that next level. Plus, I think Robinson is going to be able to get it done as well because we're not going to need him to be playing outside. We can move him to the slot. He's had success whenever he's played in there 30, 40% of the time. but he could also play outside. It's just the perfect move, really. It's just the perfect move. Like, we have a really nice 3 wide receiver set, the top 3 receivers on our depth chart with Pickens, Deontay, and now Allen Robinson. Combine that with the upside guy in Calvin Austin, the speedster. Anthony Miller, former second-round pick, just really hasn't been able to stay healthy and see the field, but it seems like the Steelers like him because we keep him around. Gunnar Olszewski, as your 6th receiver. You can't go wrong with that. But then we also just brought back Miles Boykin, and that segues perfectly into the final topic. Yep, we brought him back on a 1-year deal. This was, I just keep saying it about all of our signings, but could anyone else find any complaints? Like, it's a good deal. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. We brought back a dude who played a ton of special teams for us, was a good player. Unfortunately, didn't really get to see the field on offense. I had higher hopes for him. Especially once we traded Claypool, because he was killing it in preseason for us, but Steven Sims ended up being that wide receiver 3. But yeah, you can't go wrong with this signing. Moats has brought up he thinks the special teams element that Boykins brings is going to help him make the team. It's just that our wide receiver room is stacked and loaded right now. I'll just be curious if Boykin's special teams will override the competition that actually happens on offense with the receiver group between him, Calvin Austin, Anthony Miller, and Gunnar. So we'll just have to wait and see. But again, this doesn't hurt us at all. I'll be hard-pressed to think that we're actually going to consider cutting Calvin Austin. I mean, he'd have to really lay an egg. So I would assume he's on. I think you could lock in Deontay, Pickens, Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin, and then you have Boykins, Miller, and Gunnar competing for that last spot or 2, depending on whether we keep 5 or 6 receivers. But let me know what you guys think of the clips that I brought up, the Pickett interview, Allen Robinson's press conference, and also us bringing back Miles Boykin. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. But stay chilling. On a Wednesday, the draft is tomorrow. I think I'm going to have I'll probably have 2 more videos out, because I did a mock draft with Bleacher Report yesterday. I kind of want to show you guys that. And then maybe I'll give my final predictions on what I think the Steelers are going to do. Maybe not necessarily what I think, but who I think the pick will be when it comes down to Thursday and Friday in the second round. But that's it for this edition of Big Deek News. Again, stay chilling and peace.